What's up, Wolfman fans? I'm back. And I did tell you guys in the last video that I posted, actually probably about an hour or so ago, I told you that this would be a twofer video day. And as I told you, here's the second video. So this one's not going to be like the normal like social or political rant or anything like that. This video is going to actually be a history video, the first history video I've ever posted. And this isn't the fabled big history video that I've been working on. That one is going to take a lot of work, and I don't have the resources right now to finish it up. So that project's kind of on hold for the moment. Really what it is I don't want this to be like an hour-long documentary or anything like that, but I want to have, you know, good editing, good graphics, a lot of good pictures, and the script is really difficult because I don't want to put in so much information that it drags video out. So I need to whittle it down to the most pertinent information. But in my mind, every little tidbit of information is important. So it's boiling down to it's time consuming. I don't really at the moment have all the time in the world to work on it. So I kind of touch on it as time goes on. I'll touch on it some days, and I'll let you know when it's coming out. Let me just go with that. But for the time being, I did want to do a little bit of a history video that's a little more personal to me. And look, I'm not one of those people who's so conceited that thinks so highly and so much of myself that I'm going to, spend all my time talking about me, okay, or my family. But this is a piece of history. It's actually it's a unique piece of history to the United States, specifically dealing with the Revolutionary War, but it directly involves my family. So I wanted to share it with you. And a little bit of preface for this. This is a story that I have known for a long time, much of my life actually. It's a story that has been handed down for many generations, and I am aware of it. But I did a little bit of further research just on a whim. Just curiosity struck me, and I actually found out more information. Like I'm talking within the last week down to the last few days, and I am fascinated, and it's really exciting. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope you enjoy this that I'm about to talk about. So the individual, and this is particular individual, not so much a particular event. It is, but it isn't. Stick with me. I'll explain. Now, I'm not, as far as I know, related to anybody like super famous that's common within, history, American history, and something like that. I'm not related to George Patton or nothing like that. There is rumored that I am a descendant of Stonewall Jackson. I don't know how true that is. That would be my grandmother, my dad's mother. It would be her side of the family. But I don't know, again, how true that is. It's kind of a rumor. I haven't really done any digging on that, so I really don't know. But this individual isn't so much, he isn't widely known like that. God, I hate it when the cold weather starts to hit, because now my sinuses are acting up, my nose is itching all the time, and I'm sneezing and stuff. I hope I can contain all that through this video, so I apologize. Anyways, this particular individual, I am a direct descendant of this man, and this deals with the American Revolution. Is where I'm going with this. This man, his name is Benjamin West. I know what you're thinking, and yes, that is where my name comes from, is this individual. In fact, my middle name comes from his son, James West, and both were soldiers in the American Revolution. Benjamin West was a private with the Second Spartan Second Spartan Regimental Militia, I believe is what it was. And as the story goes, as to what my understanding of it was, in fact, the story that I heard growing up is that he was a part of this militia that did a lot of recruiting and stuff for the colonial cause, for the rebel cause. And he was eventually tracked down and murdered by Tories. Tories are, those who are, they're loyal to the English crown, the royalists, right? A group of Tory Raiders rode by his farm, found him, and as I was told, they shot him, scalped him, and then hung him. And this is the story I was told. I was also told that, after they shot him and scalped him, his wife was forced to bandage his wounds. So what I have read, and this is an article from, let's see here, let me find it. I've got it pulled up somewhere. There it is. This is an article that was written back in 1933. This comes from the Spartanburg Herald Journal. And as I understand it, actually Spartanburg, South Carolina is named after the Spartan regimental militias. That's my understanding. If any of you guys know any different, please let me know. I'm always eager to learn. But anyway, after reading this article, I learned a little more detail to it. And I'm going to share that with you now. So Benjamin West, again, was a private with the 2nd Spartan Regimental Militia. I've also heard that was cavalry. I'm not too positive on that. I get kind of conflicting information on that. Also as to whether he was a private or a sergeant, but I believe his grave marker actually shows him as a private. So I'm still researching a lot of this to get a little down to the nitty-gritty details. But anyway, basically as the story goes, and this is somewhere about, oh God, this had been around the fall of 1780. So this is when this is taking place. So at this time, the British, the royalists specifically, the colonial people who were loyal to the British, are making a large recruiting push in the area around Glen Springs, South Carolina. That's this is a northern South Carolina. That was hard to say, but they're making a recruiting push, and so what has ended up happening is a lot of officers and leaders of local militias and stuff, they have basically joined up with the royalists, and the reason for this is because those people were being targeted and harassed, and in some cases, their homes destroyed, stuff like that. And of course, those men were seen as traitors to the British, to the crown. So the ultimate punishment would be death, right? So a lot of these men, they swapped sides. They were turncoats. It wasn't just Benedict Arnold who did this, guys. It was these people too. But they did it to, save their families, save their property, save themselves. And they start recruiting for the British, so for the Tories. Well, in the same area is the Spartan regiment, okay? And they've got camps throughout the area. One in the, where did they say it was? The Fair Forest camp. That's where Benjamin West would have been. Him and another fellow member of his unit. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I have to read every once in a while. So Captain William Smith. So Captain Smith and Benjamin West, they basically rode from their camp back home, which wasn't too far away, to basically spend a little bit of time with their families before they would meet back up and return to the camp. Well, Captain Smith, he returns home and he returns home with his wife. His wife is cooking some kind of dinner for him. Benjamin West goes to his place, and from what the story goes, as the story goes here in this article, his wife was not home, so he busied himself with chores out in the yard. And as Captain Smith and his wife were sitting down to eat, they heard gunfire from the direction of Benjamin West's property. So she went over there, and she and him, he grabbed his gun. They went down the road to try to get to Benjamin West's house. So what had happened is a band of Tory Raiders had ridden up onto West's property. They had gotten word that he was in the vicinity. The thing is they have a list of all these people that are going to be their targets. And the Tory Raiders, they're dicks. They're assholes, man. And I'm talking like they'd go and they'd raid people's land. They'd steal cattle, hogs, horses, food, different kind of supplies, clothes, even down to the rings off of women's fingers. These are some asshole people, man. So they go into they've got a list of all these people, and they're harassing them. And the goal is to either ultimately force their surrender, or kill them, or get them to switch sides and join up with the royalists. So in this case, what they do is they ride up onto Private West's land, and they confront him and trying to get information out of him. They want to know the location of the rebel camps. Now, he's not a traitor. He's loyal to his cause, and he refuses. So the outcome of this is, and it should be obvious to anybody, they shoot him. But he doesn't die. That's the thing. And those shots are the shots that bring Captain Smith and his wife to come see what's happening. Well, in the time it takes them to get there, the Torries actually scalped Benjamin West. And when they get there, the wife does her best to bandage his wounds, and I'm talking about a little shoulder towel that she has, a little shoulder cape that she has. And it's a lot of blood flow. This is horrible. I don't know if you guys understand how bad scalping is, but she tries to stop the blood flow. It doesn't really say. It doesn't really say what Captain Smith did. I would like to know, did he get there and open fire? Or did a gunfight break out? I don't know. It doesn't say. So if you have that question, or if you know the answer, please let me know. I'd love to hear where that led to. But anyway, going back to Private West, his yes, now that she's been trying to stop the blood flow and help him, the Tories weren't done. They tied him up with some rope, and then got on their horses and rode off and drug him behind the horses for what this says around 3 miles, and then hung him from a tree. And it was at this point that a Miss White, she had moved to the area with her husband at the same time as the Wests. They knew each other. She had witnessed this last part and actually had went to go cut his body down, thinking that maybe she could save his life. But at this point, it was too late. So, this is just a horrible story, a horrible tragedy. But ultimately, what came in, it was a sacrifice he made. He didn't give up the information. He knew his life was possibly in jeopardy, but he didn't give up the information to the enemy. The information that they wanted, he didn't give it up, and he didn't turn his back on the colonial cause, on the revolutionary cause. Didn't turn his back on it like so many other people did and join up with the British. No, he stayed true. So there's honor there, and there's respect. Definitely an honorable thing. Now, it's interesting that his son, I believe it's his second son, James, who, again, I'm also named after, James actually had joined up with the Continental Army, and as I have it recorded, again, I need to do some further research, but as I have it recorded, he ended up as a sergeant with the Continental Army, and obviously he survived because, you know, I'm still here. But I really love this story. There is in Spartanburg, South Carolina, close to the property, close to where his property was, there is a memorial marker for both him and I believe for Captain Smith as well. So this is a really interesting story. And if any of you guys are familiar with the area of South Carolina, if you live there or you've been there and you were aware of this, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me your thoughts on it. If I'm messing up anything in the story or leaving something out, please, you know, hit me up. Let me know. I love the story. It's a fascinating story, and it's not like one that's, you know, we know about George Washington crossing the Delaware. We know about and invading, you know, Trenton. We know about Valley Forge. We know about Concord and Lexington. We know about these major battles and the huge names, kind of like George Washington. We know Benedict Arnold. We know all these things. But what oftentimes gets ignored is the militias, the average everyday people that were fighting essentially for their land and fighting for what they saw as their home. And they weren't willing to bow to the English crown that was, you know, essentially trying to tax them into oblivion. Yeah, we oftentimes forget about these small people, as it were. But it's an awesome story to me. I love the story. By the way, according to family, from what I've come to understand, is that the knife or wedge, as it's often referenced, that was used to scalp Benjamin West was actually ended up in the possession of James, his son, and ever since has been passed down to the second son of each succeeding generation. So that's been, Benjamin West is my 7th great grandfather, so it's like, what, 9 generations on. So again, really interesting story. It's personal to me because it is my family, but again, it's a interesting story of the American Revolution and maybe a part of it that we're not as familiar with. So I thought that was a really cool thing to talk about, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. If you guys liked it and you want to see more stuff like this, maybe better researched or better produced or whatever, let me know. I'm always happy to hear if you've got a topic you want me to talk about, you want me to cover historically. I am more than willing, especially if it's something I don't know about. I'm happy to learn. Go ahead, challenge me. See if there's something you can come up with, a historical thing like that I am not in some way aware of. And if that's the case, I'm happy to do the research, and I'm happy to talk about it on here and to give you a shout out for your suggestion. But anyway, that's all I got. I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend. I unfortunately got to go back to work tomorrow, but most of you guys don't. You'll have Sunday off. Please enjoy your Sunday. Please enjoy your time with your friends and family. And I wish you guys all the best. Love you all. As always, guys, stay awesome, and we will see you in the next video. Later.